Welcome everyone. This is Helen M. Perlas of Iloilo Science and Technology University, Miagao Campus. I will be sharing to you my demonstration on Microsoft Excel formulas utilizing problem-based mechanism. Before I start, I would like to give you an idea about the learning objectives of the lesson. First is to identify useful features of an electronic spreadsheet program, such as Microsoft Excel formulas, which are needed in computing tasks. Second, recognize the advantages of Microsoft Excel by making use of the program in solving simple to complex problems in various fields. And third, design a template which can be useful to the community or in a particular workplace that is responsive to their problem-solving needs using Microsoft Excel application. Okay, let's start. At this time, I would like to share with you the demonstration about the important tips in Microsoft Excel formulas lesson. I stretched down our topics into four. We have the definition, the order of precedence, the cell references, and formula. So we have to hover our mouse at the tab here to learn the basics of Excel formulas. Let's start it now. So let's move on to the definition. First question will be, what is a formula? In Microsoft Excel, formula refers to an expression that returns a specific result. Let's try to look at the sample data here. This is a grading sheet. So as what you can see, we can only see here the result of the formula. Unless we double click at the entry here, then you will be able to see that there is indeed a formula. But it's actually hidden when you view it in Microsoft Excel workbook. Let's move on to the order of precedence. So there are operators in Microsoft Excel formulas, and there is this what we call order of precedence. So first is we have the percent. This is the symbol that we'll use to signify a percentage. The second is the exponentiation. So this is the symbol for the exponent. The third is the multiplication and the division. So the multiplication and the division are of equal priority. That means whichever of the two comes first in the equation will be performed first by the Excel. The fourth is the addition and the subtraction. So same thing, whichever comes first in the equation will be performed first by the Microsoft Excel. So it's the addition and the division. So these are the symbols. To first perform the formula or the equation or the operators inside the parentheses. Okay, so let's try to look at the sample formulas here and the possible answers. So that's about the order of precedence. Let's now move on to another category. Let's move on to the cell reference. In doing or working with the formulas, we usually use the what we call cell address, which we call cell references. So to do the computation, we have to multiply the 95 to 10%. Okay, so 95 here, if you can see here, this is B7. Okay, we use reference instead of the value 95. Then we multiply it with 10%, B5. The address of 10% is B5. And if you can see, the B7 here is a plain cell address, or this is the what we call relative reference. And the B5 here is the what we call absolute reference, because it is closed with the dollar sign. That means when you copy or drag the formula, the B5 will remain B5 wherever you drag or move it or copy it. But the B7, when you move or copy the formula, here it will become B8, and here it will become B6, and so on. Okay, it is adjustable, or that it adjusts to its exact location. So that's what we mean by the relative and the absolute reference. So that's about the cell references. Okay, so let's move on to the formula. I will be showing you a demonstration of how you make use of the formula. So since you've learned those important tips about our lesson, which is the Microsoft Excel formulas, the basics of the Microsoft Excel formulas, I suppose you are ready for our activity. So your task is you are to design a template which can be useful to the community or in a particular workplace that is responsive to their problem-solving needs. That is by the use of Microsoft Excel application. Okay, so let's find out what are those problems, and you can design a template for them. So we have the problem number 1. Teacher Grace, who is handling computer subjects, is always having difficult time in computing the equivalent grade of her students with 10 sections after each periodical test. Oftentimes, she would use transmutation table to do the task, but it takes time. It delays her feedbacking of test results to her students, which affects her grading sheet preparations and teaching performance. Teacher Ben, a grade 2 teacher, is having trouble in summing up the test scores of his class every grading. He would use calculator, paper, and pen to do the task. Every time he commits mistake, he does the process again and again, which consumes a lot of time. Teacher Chin, who is teaching MAPE in grade 8, was so bothered about the grading sheets she'll be preparing every grading period. Next, problem number 4. Principal Zen is having a problem with the checking of grading sheets of the teachers every grading period. It is due to her traditional way of computing the grades using calculator, pencil, and paper. So those are our problems, and you have to design a template as your task to solve or help those people in the community.